Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show. How about that? We made it to Wednesday. Yay! Hope everybody's having a great week. It was hot yesterday. I think it's supposed to be hot again today. We shall see. What a surprise, huh? It's almost May. We're going to hit 100 here any day now. So I'm going to share with you today some new construction permits that just came up from the Census Bureau. So I'm going to show you that. Before I show you that, we are sitting at about 5,900 homes on the market today. So that's going to be the low for the week. And then we're going to start ticking up starting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, as we usually do. Kellogg, Chow from Italia. All right. And Lost 000. Good morning, everyone. So welcome. Here's our famous 7-day moving average. So you can see we got this little dip here. That's Easter. And we're going back up. So we're only going back up because the Easter numbers are gone. Just exactly like last year. See this right here? There's Easter last year. Dips down. This will be Memorial Day. And then you got 4th of July. So the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Yeah, I still feel that the best time if you want to write an offer is to write it the morning of Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Because they'll want to accept it before the holiday. So they can tell everybody they sold their house. And you're not going to have any competition. So anyway, the gap is still there, and we're starting to see price changes start to climb up again. So these are people that thought they could get more for their house and found out they can't, even though the price of homes yet they're not declining. The asking price for a few homes are starting to come down, and I sound like I'm beating the same drum all the time, but I really want to be clear on that. We're not seeing price declines in homes that are closing. So you'll see that when the numbers come out for April, and they'll come out in May. And here we are in interest rates. This is the national average. Your lender will vary. 5.28, so it went down just a little bit. So it's just kind of going around the floor there just a hair. Kellogg says son lives in Phoenix. His rent is increasing 30% starting in June. I think this is going to be the last year of that, and I'll show you why in a couple minutes. Let me see where I'm at here. There's a couple things I want to cover. So here we are. Let's talk about what's going on with single family permits. Now, I realize a lot of you are watching this on your phone, and this is hard to read, but the permit counts have been published by the Census Bureau for March. And Maricopa and Pinal County single family count for March is 3,841. This is a massive total, suggesting the supply of new single-family homes will be increasing in coming months. It's the largest total since May 2006. That's quite a number. 2006, we were building like crazy, so here we go. This is where they're coming. They're Phoenix, 463. Now, the majority of those are going to be in South Phoenix. Avondale, 417, and then unincorporated Maricopa County and Pinal County. You got 392, 387. And you can see it goes down the road. Surprise, Buckeye, Queen Creek, Mesa, Goodyear, Maricopa. Mesa is 211. All of this is happening in South Phoenix, the far west valley, and the far east valley and southeast valley. Not a whole lot going on in Chandler, Gilbert, because there just isn't a whole lot of room there right now. So that's kind of the rub there. Now, as far as apartments and rent, we're seeing an uptick in single-family rentals going on, these build-to-rent communities, and the investors are still out there gobbling them up like crazy. That's going to start to get saturated. That's going to affect apartments. Apartments will eventually come down, but there's some people out there far smarter than me that are still gobbling them up. Many of you follow Ken McElroy on this channel, and I do as well. He's a very sharp investor, and this apartment investor kicks off a plan to grow his rental portfolio of apartments and rentals by 20 to 25,000 units. He's not buying 25,000, but he'll have 25,000 by the time it's done. So plans call for breaking ground in June on an $80 million apartment community planned on Lake Pleasant Parkway in Peoria with 280 units. And that project will be called The Place at Camino a Lago. And they're looking for land in Flagstaff for another project. And there's a severe rental shortage up there in Flagstaff. And in fact, I think a few years ago, they said seniors could not stay in the dorms. So there was this flood of seniors at the college running out, and they were all sharing like a studio apartment because the rent is so expensive. So the goal is to buy about 2,500 multifamily units each year in Arizona and Texas, said Ross McAllister. And McElroy added, everything we own we are grateful for. We are very active, but at the end of the day, it boils down to the math. Either the math works or it doesn't. If it doesn't work, we're going to pass. So they are out trying to gobble up as much as they can and make sure the math works. Sooner or later, the math is not going to work and they're not going to buy. What he means is they're being outbid on a few projects and they're just saying, fine, you can have it. But they are planning expansion. So there's the guys that they don't see rent coming down anytime soon, or they plan on picking a few things up and building things at a bargain and making it work. Now, out in the East Valley here, here's the Meta data center. This is Elliott Road and Ellsworth. This is where Facebook's big data center is going to be, right down the street from Apple's data center. And this company, IndyCap, just bought some more land out there, and they're going to be using that for industrial space to bring in additional jobs. And there's a lot of development going on out here if you drive around in that neck of the woods. Loss says, do you think new construction home prices might drop a bit looking at Avondale Homes near Lower Buckeye? No, I don't see it dropping anytime soon, unfortunately, because while there's a lot of new permits out there right now, we won't see prices stabilize until they're all built. And it's still taking a long time. So we may have the highest number of permits out there since 2006, but actual hammer swinging, there's not that many. And so there's not enough. So even you go out and get a home now, and you've heard the horror stories, it's 12 to 18 months to get your house going. Now, I did have a viewer ask me this morning if I could look at Sun City and Sun City West and talk a little bit about those over 55 communities. So I'm going to pull that up here for him. And let's see. We'll do a little bit of a, not really a deep dive, but we're going to fly over and see what's going on because, there's no seasonality now. I used to be able to say, okay, in the summertime, inventory goes in the toilet. In the over 55s in the wintertime, inventory comes up. It's just a flat line now. You can see here we have 217 units for sale in those two cities. They're right next to each other. And then compared to last year at this time, 173. But then you go to 2020 and we have 459. But then here came the seasonality, right? That happens every year. But we never came out of that dip. So there is still, I would say, a shortage of homes in those two towns. So the next thing I want to look at is closings over list price, Kind of shocking when you first look at it. We're sitting at 56% of the homes are going over list price. So there are some bidding wars, but they're not very aggressive. Look at the 300 to 400,000 range. In the over 55 communities, it's $10,000 is the average over list. And it says 50% of the sales were 10,000 or less over list. So while there are some bidding wars out there, they're not getting really crazy. It says here that the minimum over list was $1 and the maximum over was 61,000 out of the 69 homes sold in that 300 to 400 range. 400 to 500, 15,000. And if you get lower, the 250 to 3, yes, there are some out there. The average is 6,000. 50% of them were 6,000 or less. So there is some bidding going on out there. But boy, it ain't much. It ain't much at all. Residential rentals, as far as you're looking at trying to pick something up to rent out there, there is seasonality, of course. And you can see here they're asking $1,850 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And then some of them will go as high as $2,500 a month. Here's one here that says $1,400 to $2,000. So that means in the spring and summer it's $1,400. In the winter it's $2,000. So you can get your rental price out there, and especially in Sun Lakes, which is south of Chandler. So there are certainly some investment opportunities in the over 55 communities. And I've long been saying that those aren't bad places to move to if you're over 55 and you don't want to get into the bidding wars and you want to get a reasonable price on the home. But I caution you in Sun City and Sun City West to really look at the HOA fees, because I think their fee now they have what's called a why can't I spit this out? Capital improvement fee, and it's almost $4,000. It's in fact, I think it's a little over $4,000. The buyers pay, and then you also pay an HOA transfer fee. Now, why the capital improvement fee? They use that to be able to maintain the golf courses, the grounds, and improve and put up new buildings in lieu of raising your HOA fees. So once you're in, the HOA fees are staying kind of stable. So there's so much turnover that they can keep their HOA more financially solid by just charging this capital improvement fee. Sounds kind of screwy, but that's the way it works, and it seems to be working for these communities. Kellogg says, has the increase in mortgage rates really affected buying, considering the people buying with cash? We're still about, depending on the price range, especially over $1 million, we're 53% cash. Those are not being affected yet. But if you go back and you look at active listings, and I pull up the rest of the community here, the rest of the town, and go by price range, and I go to, and I think I did this yesterday, 4 to 500,000, 500 to 600,000, then you're going to see that's where the listings are coming on. So here they are coming up. So that's what's being affected right now. That mid-range, 4 to 500, 500 to 600, that's where the interest rate spike is starting to show, with buyers backing off, and then the inventory showing up. And keep in mind, when I say buyers backing off, see this red line? We've kind of been there all year. So we're still rolling at about 3,400 homes going under contract on a 7-day basis. So while it has dipped, it hasn't dipped that much. This is our record low here, 2,700. And if I scroll all the way down to my spreadsheet here, this is what I do in the morning before I start the show. I go all the way down, and I can show you. So we had 4,538 new listings come on the market, and 3,781 go under contract. Now that number had been sticking at about 39 to 41 for most of the year. So when we say that sales have slid, and you're at 3,781, that's not a lot of people. From 39 to 3,781, around 150 people. But what's changed is because this number is lower than here, the gap keeps changing. So the gap of homes here, see how it's 757? There's 757 less homes going under contract than what showed up. That's what this chart illustrates here. And it shows you that for most of the year, we were hanging pretty close. We were gobbling up just as many in the red line as we're there on the blue line. That's homes going under contract. But now that gap is growing. That's supply versus demand just being illustrated. And that's what has to change. So until that changes, prices are not coming down. Hate to break it to you that way, but they're not coming down. Now, if you're going to list, you kind of have to find your comfort level if you're going to list or not, and if you think this is the peak. I can tell you right now that I'm not seeing numbers that say this is the peak. And I will tell you when I think we're nearing the peak. I'll show you why, and I'll say, look, here's this number, here's this number, here's this number. I think we're approaching the peak, and I'll tell you from here, get your house on the market. We've got plenty of time, so I don't worry about that. Jerry says, in a future show, can you take a look at people moving to Phoenix area, wondering if it's starting to slow? Also interested in the number of people leaving. I would have to look at census data. We're not seeing a lot of people leaving. It's very interesting. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. We're still 18 to 19% of our sales are from California, and 12% are from Washington. And then it goes Illinois. And when I look at my YouTube analytics and my audience, it says the same thing. 18% of my audience is from California. And then 12% is from Washington. That may just be my friends. I don't know. Jackie, good morning, Jackie. I hope your cold's better. Parts of California is changing quick. Brendan, I'm moving to Scottsdale June 10th. Well, where are you going? And how come I haven't heard from you, Brendan? Give me a call. So I hope you're getting someplace nice. So you're probably renting. Their average days on market have grown in areas from 11 to 40 days on market. Ooh, Jackie, you're still sick. 2 weeks ago, Jackie, I had that same cold. I was miserable. I think I only put out one video because I couldn't get through it. And I haven't had a cold in a long, long time except for COVID. But this was worse than COVID. So not to drift off there, but yuck. I hope you get better soon. And Brendan, hey, give me a holler when you get a chance. I'm glad to hear you're coming back. Andre Antares, I just bought a home in Chandler, closing next month. Congratulations. What part of Chandler, by chance? Lived there since 1996. Love it down there. Get to downtown Chandler. Go to the Perch restaurant right in downtown. They got birds there. It's hard to explain, but they rescue birds, and it's just a very interesting restaurant. It's a pub and restaurant. It's just a lot of fun. So anyway, today I'm heading down south. I'm heading down to Karshner Caverns, and I plan, and such are the best laid plans. I plan on being live tomorrow morning because I checked, and it does look like I'll have a connection. So I'm going to be staying down there with a couple good friends and coming back on Friday, maybe Saturday. Either way, we'll still be doing my Friday with Pat at 3 o'clock, where we go over lending and the conditions of the Arizona real estate market as well. So in the meantime, thanks for tuning in. Talk to you tomorrow, hopefully